Hey, this is Scott Qualey with Davis Technical College. Today we're going to talk about how to operate this shear. All right, so the first step to operating the shear is we need to turn it on. So we're going to come down here to this switch here, and we switch it on. And we're going to just take one quick step back and make sure that nothing is blocking our electric eye right here. That needs to be clear of any obstructions. And if anybody was to walk back here while the shear is operating and breaks this plane right here, it'll shut the whole thing down. Okay guys, on this machine, this entire section moves up and down as we're cutting. It's very important that there's not anybody back here. That's why these electric eyes exist, and that's something to be taken seriously. If this thing comes down on you, you're gonna have a bad day. Here we are at the control panel. So once we've gotten the machine booted up and we've reset the laser, we need to tell it what we're going to be cutting. So first off, this one is a touch screen, which is really nice. We can just hit material. Here we have steel. That's what we'll be cutting today. There's aluminum, zinc, and stainless. Okay, so we're going to select steel. The next is how thick of metal are we going to be cutting. We're going to be cutting 3/16, which is 0.1875. It only goes to 187, that's fine, we'll hit enter. Okay, this one tells the shear how wide we're cutting. The shear is 120 inches wide, so I usually just leave it 120 inches wide. Here is how long we want to make our cut. So if we're like I said, if we're doing 1x1 strips, we would set this for 1 inch, hit enter. That's going to bring the backstop forward 1 inch. All right, so once we have all of our settings in, we're going to go ahead and turn on the machine. Turn this to the right. Power goes on, and we're set to cut. Okay, so I've got my piece here. I'm going to cut a 1 inch strip off of this. So we've got our backstop set to 1 inch. Now right here's our working surface. Now we can cut all the way down the shear. We can cut a big old long sheet, but since we're only cutting this, we don't have to worry about going too far down. But what is important, no matter how much you're cutting, is that we get a straight cut. So right here we have a fence. We're going to slide our piece up against that fence and make sure that it's square. So we can slide it in. It'll slide all the way to the backstop, which is set for 1 inch. It could be set for however big you want to make your cut. So it's in. We want to make sure it's square up against the fence. The other thing that's extremely important is whatever we're cutting has to be underneath the plunger. So we can't make a cut like this because that's not under the plunger. What will happen is this is just going to bend if it's not under the plunger, and that will break the shear permanently. So we do not ever want to do that. These things are really tough, but if you make a cut like this outside of the plunger, it's going to force the blade out, and that will wreck this machine. So it's extremely important that everything is underneath one of the plungers and that our hands are away from this by the time we set our foot on the pedal. We don't want anything under here. These will crush your hands super quick. So we want to make sure our hands are free and everything's under the plunger. Once that's set, we can leave it, come back, and grab our pedal. Okay, this is our pedal here. On top, we have an emergency stop. If anything were to go wrong, you just hit that, and the machine shuts down. Underneath, we have our pedal right there. It's got a nifty little handle on it so we can set it wherever we want. We're going to put our foot on the pedal, and we're going to make our cut. All right guys, so after we've made our cut, we're going to walk around behind the machine and get our material. But first, we're going to go ahead and shut the machine down. Not all the way down, we're just going to turn the motor off so that it's safe to walk back there. It's always better to do it manually than to let the electric eye be tripped and set it. It's just easier for the machine that way. So that's a good habit to be in. Then we're going to walk around here. And we're going to collect our pieces. Okay, and there we go. We got 3 1-inch pieces, ready to do whatever you want with them. Next, we'll talk about this, this ramp right here. This is a sheet management system. We'll show you how to operate that in just a second. What this does is if you're making a longer cut, something, as you can see, we have a piece of sheet metal down here on the floor. If you wanted to cut strips out of this or cut something like this, you could use the sheet management system. So this sheet management system is pneumatically operated, which means it operates off of air pressure, and it tilts up. So when you make the cut, this comes up level. We'll demonstrate that for you in a second. And you make the cut, the sheet falls onto this, these come down, and it rolls off right here onto the ground. We do have this sheet here to protect our concrete from metal coming down and hitting the concrete. That's why this is here, so leave it there. All right, so right underneath our control panel here, we have our sheet management system. So like I said, it's operated off compressed air. That's called pneumatic. We're going to hook it up to the air hose right now. There's a little nipple right on the back side of this. And that's what we're going to connect it to. All right, guys, once we've got it plugged into our air supply, this is how we turn on our sheet management system. So we see over here 0, we're going to turn it on. You hear it pump up, and in the back you'll see the arms slowly start lifting up. All right, guys, so let's talk about a few of the principles of a shear. If we look down this, we notice that this blade has a taper to it. It goes up as we go further down the shear. Okay, so that setting that we talked about, and he'll show you a photo of it, when it goes all the way down, I leave it to 120. And the reason why is if I have that set to say, you know, here, like let's call that 30 inches. So if I only have that setting set here, the blade will only come down until right here passes the cutting surface. Okay, so the blade will only come down a certain point. Then, if you have a sheet that goes all the way down, it only makes a partial cut, and the sheet will get stuck in there, and it's a real pain to have to get that unstuck. So I leave that all the way out, so the blade goes all the way down every time. As soon as you let off the pedal, the blade will come back up. Now I'll give you a quick demonstration of what I'm talking about right now. Okay, so that time you could tell that the blade didn't go all the way down the entire thing. It only went part way and stopped. So we want that to go the whole way every time, and the reason we do that is to avoid accidents and getting sheets stuck in our shear. All right, guys, just to recap everything, on the control panel here, we need to make sure that we have our proper metal selected, that we have the proper thickness selected, and that we have our how much we want to cut. So material and the thickness are the most important parts. We're going to leave this one as it is. We don't want to change that setting. That's how far it's going to cut long ways. This is where the backstop goes. And these are the only 3 that you should have to change when operating the shear. Okay, if you have any questions, come grab me or another instructor. We want to make sure that you feel comfortable using this and that you can use it safely without damaging the machine or yourself.